welcome to another episode of Heroes and. This is our podcast, our YouTube channel. My name is Cody.
And I'm Andy.
And you know that we've been in our fall season. Mm-hmm. Halloween is right around the corner. Mm-hmm. And so for this week's episode, for today's episode, we are talking about and sharing our top 5 monsters from geek culture. And
I cannot wait. I'm laughing already because you gotta know, viewers, listeners.
I pitched this idea to Andy.
He did. He's been like slowly suggesting this for a little while now, and I've had my hesitation with it, my reservations for this episode. But you gotta know up front, viewers and listeners, that my 5 are for sure gonna be not what you're expecting. Maybe 2 of them are what you're expecting, but I also say this. 3 of them are like the same.
3 of them are Pokemon. And then 2 of them are Pokemon. One's a Digimon.
So then you just gotta know I am not the monster expert.
One of them is Blue Eyes White Dragon.
I forgot about that one. Maybe I might change it last minute. That guy was incredible. I forgot about that. Honorable mention. CP, since this was your episode idea, since I think you probably are more of the professional when it comes to monsters. I don't know why, but I just feel like you are. I feel
like you know more movie monsters. There's more monsters that you know than you're maybe thinking.
I just think seriously, my 5 are gonna
or more that qualify as a monster.
I guess mine are gonna be silly. I guess you just. But anyways, CP, why don't you start?
Bowser.
I forgot about that.
That's what I'm saying. I think you've been thinking too small.
I have been thinking too small.
Bowser. You got your Godzilla.
I got
one could
eyes.
say Thanos is a monster.
One could say that.
Sabretooth. There's options.
There is a lot of options. All right. Go ahead. Go first. Start us off. Top 5 monsters. You know the rules. There's no ranking for this. It's just our top 5.
Everybody knows the rules.
Everybody knows the rules.
All right.
That's not an original thing. We got that online. We're not that clever.
One bite pizza. Check it out. All right. So my first one. You want me to start with the creepiest one, or you want me to start with? There's like 2 that genuinely
are monsters.
Really freaked me out.
All right, go with that one because I'll go with a monster, like a monster as well.
Okay, so my first one is I tried to find what he's actually called, but it is the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
Yes.
Have you seen Jeepers Creepers?
I've seen the first one and the second one.
I think there's only 2, so you're all caught up.
I think they made a straight to DVD one.
I'm pretty sure the straight to 3 DVD one was the second one.
No, I think they both. This is a laugh fest. I am so sorry. The first 2 I think were released in movie theaters, if I'm not mistaken.
And then there was a
third. I think there's a third. I think there really is a third or a 4th one. Legitimately, that straight to Netflix. It came out in 2017.
Yeah,
straight to DVD, Netflix kind of a
sergeant
vibe.
and his task force embark on a mission to destroy the Creeper on its last day of feeding.
There you go. So
September 2017.
So I'm not caught
17% on Rotten Tomatoes. if you're into the tomatoes,
I'm 2/3 caught up.
So I'm 2/3 caught up. Anyway, so if you're not familiar with Jeepers Creepers, this monster he feeds on and can smell your fear. Mm-hmm. And I remember being a kid and just the idea of me being afraid of something and then that fear playing into the monster's fear or monsters attack and then that making me more scared, that just freaked me out so much. And so that is my first one. He's crazy. It's creepy because he takes his victims and then uses parts of their bodies as part of his own body. Mm-hmm. And then, there's also a level of it's every 23 years he wakes up to feed, kind of like Pennywise, or that kind of thing. And so just that mythos of you just got to beat him for 3 days and then he'll go back to sleep. Yeah. So, and the first movie is pretty cool because it's a really small cast. There's only, there's 2 main characters and then the Creeper, and it's filmed in Florida, right here in our backyard.
I did not know that. What part? Do you know what part?
Probably Lake County.
You're probably right. Justin Long's in the first one. I like Justin Long a lot.
Yeah, Justin Long.
He's a big fan of him. But that first one's creepy. The second one's it gets a little campy a little bit, but the first one definitely was like, it was trying to still be like a legitimate fear, like horror movie. So that's your first one, CP?
It was filmed in Ocala.
Ocala. Okay.
Yeah, so,
close to Lake County.
Yeah, pretty much.
So your first one's The Creeper?
First one is The Creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
All right. So my first one, I don't know if it actually has a name. Kind of similar to yours, but I don't know. But it's the monster from Cloverfield. So big fan of Cloverfield, big fan of J.J. Abrams. And so
the shaky cam didn't make you sick?
It did not. It did not.
Me neither. But
yeah,
I know that's a thing for some people.
I mean, who knows now? Maybe now that I'm older, like if I rewatch it, I don't know if it'll get me sick then. But the first time I watched it, I remember just being so like impressed by the film, and then it really was like there was a level of excitement when it came to seeing the monster finally.
Right. Because you in that movie you get so few good looks at the actual monster.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. And so, big fan of Cloverfield, and so the monster again. There's a bunch of rumors, and like, I mean, that whole franchise is still kind of, who knows if it's even a franchise anymore. But best like ideas and suggestions are that like an alien or a monster from outer space, because there's a scene where you see like it hitting the water. At the end of the movie, you see it hit like the beach when they're in Coney Island, and then he has like parts of him falling off, which end up being like those super small, fast little creatures, which were super terrifying in that subway scene. And so, and he's a boss, like he's just destroying New York City, and so. Big fan of the movie, which is why I'm a big fan of the monster, and I appreciate J.J. Abrams. He wanted to create a monster that was like an American version of Godzilla. Like what Godzilla is to Japan and like Asian countries, of like this legendary iconic monster, was what JJ was trying to create with Cloverfield. And so, I mean, did he do that? Not really, but I appreciate him trying to do that. And so, big fan of Cloverfield, which is why my number one monster is the monster from Cloverfield. So, CP, what's your number two, man?
My number two, then maybe I'm selling out a little bit, but my number two is the Demogorgon from Stranger Things.
Okay.
And so I really love the Demogorgon from the first season, particularly because I think kind of similar to Cloverfield, Morgan and I rewatched the first and second seasons of Stranger Things right before season 3 came out. You know, wanted to make sure we were fully caught up, on the show and everything. And it was actually pretty cool because we saw a lot that we kind of forgot, or, we realized Steve Harrington isn't that much of a jerk like we had remembered he was. And so, so it was cool to just rewatch that. But I realized in that rewatch how little you actually see the Demogorgon in that first season. Like, you only really get a good look and a long look at the monster in the finale, like in this,
the classroom, like
in the classroom season or scene. Yeah. Like, even, when it's finally out in that last episode, when it's in the school, you still don't get a ton of like great looks at it. And so, and I think just anytime a movie does that, or, a story does that, it just really creates this cool mythos, because you can't fight something that you don't understand, and that you can't fight an enemy that you can't see, and so it's definitely super creepy for the characters, and then obviously super creepy for us as well. And then just like Steve Nancy and Steve, they get it burned, and Jonathan burn it, and so then it's like kind of charred looking at the end, and it just looks, but it still like seems just as strong as ever, and it's like just still freaky. So
can I ask you a Stranger Things question?
Stranger Things answer.
I don't know if I understand, or if they even have clarified it, but like how, like what these monsters are, and like what, like where are they coming from? Like, what's the connection to 11 being like tested, like scientifically messed with?
We just,
you get what I'm saying?
Just actually the other day we rewatched the finale episode of season 2.
Okay.
Where, it's spoiler alert, but they're closing the gate.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of thing. And so, or that, that's where they're at in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that same thought, like, because I'm pretty sure that, I don't know if it's said, but I'm pretty sure that the Demodogs would eventually grow up to be Demogorgons.
I think I'm tracking with you there, yes.
But even that I don't think is explicitly said.
Yeah.
I just assumed that a wolf would turn into a werewolf.
Sure.
But I don't understand that either because I feel like there's got to be a connection there.
Yeah.
And hopefully I guess that'll be unpacked in season 4.
Yeah,
because we know somehow in season 3 the Mind Flayer in its physical form biting 11 takes her powers away.
Oh, yeah.
So there's got to be some sort of connection.
Yeah,
there.
I don't understand I guess I don't understand those monsters.
Like, what does all that have to do with 11?
With 11 and the experiments that she
they were doing on her.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's all.
Hey, that's a random aside.
It is a little
if you have,
please
let us know.
Yeah, let us know. We would love to unpack that. So that was your number 2?
Demogorgon.
All right, my number 2 top 5 monsters. This one is like probably the one you think of the most, and I kind of mentioned it already, but it is Godzilla. Mm-hmm. But I'm speaking specifically to the 90.
Matthew Broderick?
Broderick.
Man. We lost people.
Yeah, I know.
Please. I mean, you didn't lose me because that movie is great. But.
So I watched that movie in theaters with my parents when it came out. I was probably like in 5th or 6th grade. It was right around there.
Yeah, we were both young.
And it to me I didn't have obviously the palette that I have now of film, of knowing hey, that's a good film, that's a terrible film. So back then it was this is awesome. This is awesome. It's a big monster. It's in New York. We're in New York. This is great. They're in Madison Square Garden where I love the Knicks, and this is where I would go see wrestling. So it was hitting everything.
Everything Andy loves.
It was firing.
Cab rides.
Yes. It was firing on all cylinders for me. And so still to this day, I really appreciate the movie and the silliness that it is. Now, I understand it's not the most true to the source material of Godzilla and the mythology of Godzilla and all that stuff. And so I totally get why people don't like it. But for me, when I was that young, I really, really enjoyed it. And so we still quote, you and me still quote, "You're going the wrong way." Mm-hmm. From the scene
Incredible.
when the taxi cab is in the mouth of Godzilla. And so, anyways, the Brooklyn Bridge, we cross the Brooklyn Bridge all the time. So every time I go back to the Brooklyn Bridge now in New York, I think about this
one time where Godzilla wrecked this thing.
I think about this.
Have you been to the building that he jumps through? You remember?
No, I do.
I guess she jumps through.
No, I don't. No. But
that part was always you just see the silhouette. How could that even happen?
Yeah.
How could the building be standing still?
Yeah.
But you see the silhouette.
Yeah.
Also, that Taco Bell commercial with. Do you remember?
I don't know if I remember Taco Bell.
It's back when they still did the Chihuahua.
The dog.
And the Chihuahua, he's sitting there with a. It's promoting the movie and obviously Taco Bell. But he had some Taco Bell box or something. Great deal if you're in the $5 lunch. But he's trying to catch, so he's got the Taco Bell box, and then he's got it held up, a box over it held up with a stick. He's trying to catch something. And then he's here, lizard, lizard. He's doing this terribly racist voice. And this terribly racist accent that this Chihuahua has. And then you hear Godzilla roar, and he's like, "I'm going to need a bigger box." And that's the end of the commercial. That was the whole. For some reason, that commercial has stuck with me as much as you're going the wrong way.
Oh my goodness. Go ahead and just
Marketing.
look out on YouTube. Look it up right now. Taco Bell Godzilla commercial. Do yourself a favor, I guess. So that's my number 2, Godzilla. I'm thinking specifically the 98, 97.
Bro, those
movie.
earthworms, man.
Yes, it's a big deal. So what's your number 3?
My number 3 is...
Oh gosh.
I don't know why. Why are you laughing? I'm not.
I'm super.
You're
like,
worried
giggly.
that I'm going to say something ridiculous?
Yes, I am.
My number 3 is Indominus Rex.
Okay. There it is.
From Jurassic World. What did you say?
That's
there?
No. I was expecting a Jurassic.
Is my hand becoming predictable?
I was expecting a Jurassic Park. I didn't know which one you were going to go with. That's why.
Gotcha. So the Indominus Rex is my number 3, and I chose the Indominus Rex over the other options because the T-Rex, that's a hero.
Okay. It's not a monster. Okay.
That's not a monster. But with the Indominus Rex, like I remember the first time seeing that movie, and just like I thought it was so cool how they slowly unpack how powerful, or like all of the different just all the different abilities that it has because of all the different animals that it's been built with. And so seeing just like obviously it's got a sense of smell like a normal like we've seen dinosaurs have in the previous films. And and seeing that it can camouflage, or that it can hide from thermal imaging. And the fact that it was even smart enough to figure out that there was thermal imaging. I don't know if they talk about that
like enough. To hide it to begin with.
It was like, oh yeah, they're using thermal imaging. I need to use my thermal.
Blocking.
And then the moment when they realized that it can camouflage, it was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. Because they're saying it should be right there. Why isn't it right there? And
it could communicate to raptors.
And then it starts telling the raptors what to do, and you're like, these are supposed to be our heroes. So, but yeah, the Indominus Rex, man.
Yeah, that's a solid pick. It really is. I thought about going with the Jurassic Park monster, but I was like, no,
And then you thought, oh, Cody, he's
going
to use one. No, probably from Jurassic Park 3.
No, I honestly thought, I like the ones I have because of how ridiculous they are, and you're about to find out how ridiculous they are.
So this is where we cross over into the Pokemon.
This is where we cross over into just campy silliness. Yeah. So
I really hope
your number 3 is one more time
is the Indominus Rex.
Awesome. So for me, my number 3 is like at least like if you grew up with Pokemon, like it was like the one that you wanted, like the one that everyone wanted, Charizard. Like you wanted Charizard, whether you were playing it on your Game Boy.
I've been playing it on Pokemon Go. I just recently started playing it again, and I've been walking around like having this as my buddy. I don't know if you even know what that is in the game anymore. But you walk around with your buddy, and then they're earning candy. So that you can eventually evolve them, and with certain ones you got to get up to like 100 something candy. So, or sometimes more. And so I've been walking around for months with this Charmeleon, and I kept referring to it as like I'm not on Charizard anymore, or Charmander anymore. I'm like stuck on the boring middle one that nobody even likes. I just want Charizard. Now I haven't even played the game since I got Charizard, and I was like, well, I can.
Game's over.
I won. Beat it.
So whether you did it on your Game Boy or Pokemon Go, or if you played Pokemon the card game, like that was the one that you wanted. And like it's crazy, but like a first edition holograph, like of the card, like over hundreds of thousands of dollars is how much it's worth, which is insane. So anyways, like Charizard, like that again, it's like the Pokemon that you wanted. And so so when you said monsters, I started thinking, like, I did like a quick scan in my head of like all franchises, all movies, video games, books, all that stuff. And then I came to like video games, and I thought Pokemon. I'm like, Pokemon maybe. And it was like, well, Pokemon stands for Pocket Monsters. And like, well, it qualifies. And so then I was like, well, if I'm going to pick one Pokemon, it has to be Charizard. So anyways, that's him. That's the one. I mean, again, if you're going to pick one Pokemon, that's the one you want. So that's my number 3.
Nobody's picking Ivysaur.
No. Even though in the game, we all knew if you picked Bulbasaur, the green leaf, Pokemon from the first Red and Blue, that one was that one was maybe the wisest one to pick, because the first two gyms that you fought, like, it was for a grass Pokemon, it was super easy for you to defeat those first two gyms with grass.
I mean, if you want to take the easy route.
Yes.
Sure, I guess.
The water type monster was easy for the first one because the first one was rock, and then it became challenging with the second one because the second one was also water. For you to go Charmander, you're starting off with like the most difficult path, because you're going rock and then water. Yeah, you're really working to get that Charizard for sure. So anyways, number 3.
You got to do what you got to do. Number 3.
Charizard. What's your number 4, man?
My number 4 is the clickers from The Last of Us.
Oh, okay.
So I know you've like...
Xbox
guy. You're not really into the... So... the clickers are humans that have been infected with a fungus.
Oh, yes.
That's taken over their brain. And so they kind of have this like weird mushroom looking growths coming out of their head. And they can't see, but they hunt using echolocation, and they can still hear really well.
Okay.
And so that's kind of, they're making this like clicking sound, that's
gotcha.
It's the name clickers. As they, go throughout, just as they wander about their, the space that they're in.
Yeah.
And so you got to really sneak around them. And what was cool to me in the game, and as it gets more difficult as you go higher levels to navigate around them, or higher difficulties. But in the game, you couldn't fight them hand to hand. So
interesting.
Like there's different levels, I guess, of infected. There's people that have just become infected. And those ones you could still like fist fight if you needed to. But with the clickers, you could only, if like one of attacked you and grabbed you, you could only kill it using a makeshift knife that you've made with like scissors and stuff in the game. And so, and again, the higher the difficulty level, the more rare those types of objects become.
Oh, geez.
And so it kind of like, especially if you're playing on grounded, the hardest difficulty, it's kind of a thing of like you just avoid fighting them at all costs, and if they do find you, you just kind of run. Like it's not like fighting them. Yeah. Because like you can hit them, you can fight them with melee weapons, but again, higher difficulty, those things are just more rare.
Yeah.
And so, what I love about them is just the difficulty of fighting them, and really just that you as a player have to kind of adapt, to where you're just it's not a fight as much as it is just avoiding them altogether. Yeah.
Question: are they pretty common?
So I mean, you like earlier on in the game, you don't see them as much.
Gotcha.
Or it'll be like there's one clicker and then there's a bunch of regular infected.
Okay.
But,
so there is like a little difference between like regular...
as you progress further, you do see them a lot more frequently.
Gotcha.
And then there's another level of infected that they call bloaters that have like a projectile attack as well.
Gotcha. So, okay. So that's your number 4?
Number 4. Clickers. Super freaky.
From The Last of Us. Okay. My, again, we're getting silly. My number 4 is Rex from Toy Story. So you picked your dinosaur from your franchise.
I don't know. I'm interested to hear how is he a monster though?
Well, the funny thing is, okay, so I'm not saying
like I if you said Sid from Toy Story, sure, the creepy baby with the claws.
Okay, yeah. But I'm just thinking straight. I'm not thinking so much good or bad. Which I know a monster by itself is... implies bad. But I'm thinking like creature or some kind of animal kind of a thing. Or that's what my brain went.
I'm not sure AD understood the concept.
So again, it's my top 5. But what's crazy is like if I really thought about it, probably Bowser would have made my top 5. Blue Eyes White Dragon probably would have made my top 5. So anyways, but I'm sticking with my guns. Rex from the Toy Story franchise. Again, it's super silly, but I just love how he's trying to be a monster. He's trying to be this like threat, this, violent creature, and it's just like not happening. So especially in that first one, you really see that a lot when he is working on his roar, and stuff like that. And so it's just kind of funny to me. Again, super silly. I know you're thinking to yourself, I can't believe Andy just said Rex from Toy Story, but I just said Rex from Toy Story. So that's my number 4. Short and sweet. Wait until you get my last one. My last one, you're in for a doozy. So number 4, Rex from Toy Story.
I don't even have anything to say, so I'm just gonna go. My last one is Imhotep from The Mummy.
That's a good one. That really is a good one.
Fraser. I tried to go serious.
You really did.
I almost said Walter White.
That's how serious dude was. Yeah,
and I was like, yeah. So I was going to try to come up with some sort of curveball. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Imhotep from The Mummy, the Brendan Fraser. It's a trilogy, but really, you only need to pay attention to the first 2 because the third one's not about Imhotep, and so. That guy, it's just, he's so ugly at times in that movie. Yes. And, you think, once he gets all of his, by the time he gets all of his skin, he's going to be less creepy. And that doesn't happen. No. So even though once he gets all of his skin, he still, pulls his face apart weird. Mm-hmm. And he controls the sand. And so, that point, there's, early on, obviously, he's taking body parts from the people who opened the jars, the American guys that opened the jars. And so there's a point where he just has eyes, but he's still all mummified. Mm-hmm. Creepy. Yeah. And then there's a couple points where he opens his body, or you can see inside of him, but he's still mostly covered. He's just creepy, man. Yeah. So. I've
never seen the third one, which I know you just said don't see it, which I agree, right? But I haven't seen the Tom Cruise one that was supposed to launch this dark multiverse, which I haven't seen either.
So you,
but I appreciate the first.
Spoiler alert for Tom Cruise's The Mummy. Okay. That movie ends. Tom Cruise is the Mummy.
Is he?
He becomes the Mummy.
Interesting.
It's so stupid. It's so freaking. I was like, fan? Why? It's just not weird.
Fan. Okay.
This, there's this evil girl mummy, who, sure, it's creepy, but. But the idea that they were working towards was to have a group of heroes or anti-heroes that were going to be assembled to fight other evil beings.
Was Russell Crowe?
So the best part of that movie is Russell Crowe is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Okay. And he talks about evil being a disease. Okay. And so... Dr. Jekyll creates a cure for his evil side.
Gotcha.
Right? I think I have that right. Dr. Jekyll is a good guy. Mr. Hyde's a bad guy.
I'm not entirely sure.
Anyway, so he's running this organization that deals with these paranormal creatures or threats. But he has his office goes into a lockdown kind of bunker thing when if he starts to become turn into Mr. Hyde. And yeah, it's super cool. That part is it's a cool scene because he turns into him, and then Tom Cruise is trying to get they have these injection, this injection. Yeah. But then at the end of the movie, Tom Cruise he has to he's somehow there's something where he's supposed to be the love interest for the mummy, but if he so she's supposed to eat this thing and then she'll be able to live, then he eats it and he gets these mummy powers. It's it's weird.
I do love me some Tom Cruise. I really do.
You don't love Tom Cruise. You love Mission Impossible.
I do. I mean, maybe they're one and the same at this point, but I do love me some Mission Impossible. So okay, your last one.
Do you love Days of Thunder?
No, that's true. But I do like his John Reacher.
Jack Reacher.
John Reacher.
You don't even know his name. Yeah, you don't even know his name. Loves it.
And then the other one, they changed the name. Edge of Tomorrow.
Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah, Live, Die, Repeat. That was a great movie. That was solid. Anyways, your number 5, Monster.
Mummy. Imhotep. Yes. The Mummy.
My number 5, Sully from Monsters Inc. But Cody, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, Cody just almost like let his head drop into the mic and the filter. So
Morgan told me I should pick Randall.
Yeah, so good or bad. It's funny. What's interesting though about Sully is for Monsters U, he's a jerk. So he's kind of bad. For the first half of the first Monsters Inc., they're all bad because they're coming to our side and scaring us. So like,
it's part of the job, Andy.
Yeah. So in theory, even though he has a good heart, he saves the little girl, all that stuff. Like, you can say maybe he was a bad guy for like half of the first movie and half of the prequel. So like, you can make that argument.
That's a whole bad guy.
That's one whole bad guy. So that's good math right there. So anyways, I love the Monsters Inc. Films. And Sully is just great. And we are very spoiled to be here in Orlando, Florida. So the Mummy, like you love the Mummy. So the Mummy ride at Universal is fantastic. I love, again, Monsters Inc. And so being able to take a photo with, Sully, at Disney is fantastic too. And like, I know it's like a real human in there, but like those costumes are so detailed and so great that like, giving a hug to this huge guy is like always fun. And so, so that's my number 5 monster. Not scary to us, probably scary to kids if, again, first half of the movie, he's the best scarer. So it's my number 5, my number 5 monster, Sully from Monsters Inc. So yeah. Don't judge me. Your eyes right now. Your eyes are so disappointed.
It just caught me off guard. I don't know why, but it did. I guess this is how you felt when I said you're my disappointment. so payment is due. I deserve that.
Yes.
Do you have any runners up?
I mean, other than Bowser and Blue Eyes White Dragon, no, I really did think like, how far do we want to go with the term monster? In all seriousness, I really, I was thinking of like to go from Sully to what I'm about to say is a really big 180. But I was going to say like some serious like serial killers, like who are legit monsters for like what they've done and stuff like that. And so I did think about like, do I want to go that route? Maybe that's why I went with the lighthearted stuff because I didn't want to go so dark with it. Yeah. Because I was thinking like we can really
because you went Pennywise. It was like Pennywise or Sully. I'm gonna go Sully for sure.
For real,
family friendly here.
Yeah. So I was like, man, we can go real dark here, like how you want to interpret monster. And so I went the lighter route. So I don't have any runner up. Or nominations or
runners ups.
Yeah, runners ups. So you,
my only one I think would be the aliens from A Quiet Place.
Oh, I just rewatched that. Still good,
phenomenal movie.
Still real good. Yeah,
you can turn. It's great because you can turn the volume up real loud and it doesn't even change the movie.
It's really good. You're not wrong. It's a really good film, man. That was a good one. As I was talking early again. As I was unpacking my top 5, I was thinking I should have picked the monster from Super 8. But I do enjoy the monster.
Isn't that the same monster?
I don't think it is.
No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just trying to stir the pot.
No. But so I was thinking, do I want to go that route? But like, nah, I'm okay. So anyways.
All right.
That's our episode.
So that is our episode for our top 5 monsters from Pixar. And so let us know what your favorite monsters are, either in the comments on this YouTube video. If you're listening, go to our social media and let us know. We would love to hear them. And as always, give us a follow wherever you're listening. Give us a like if you're watching. And hit that subscribe button. That would be super helpful for us. And I'm super, super thankful to be here. And it's been great. Hearing Andy's comic book. I don't need comic book.
Silly.
I was surprised there's not one Batman one.
No, because I was thinking
Killer Croc.
No, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Venom. Nobody.
I know, man. We just gotta wrap this up.
Kingpin. All right, so that's our episode. I'm not Andy. You're Andy.
I'm Andy.
I'm Cody.
He's Cody.
We're out.